Good morning, guys. Happy coffee talk. Coffee this morning is cold brew. I've been sick for a couple days. That's why I haven't been doing coffee talk. And my throat is not awesome. And so I did drink some hot coffee when I first got up, but I switched to cold brew and it actually feels really good on my throat. So it's just black cold brew, like the Stoke, STOK. I think you buy, just any grocery store has it. It's pretty good, actually. It's definitely one of my go-tos for cold brew. So before I dive into the coffee talk topic for today, I want to remind you about the 28-day coaching experience that you can sign up for. This is one of the times where you actually have the opportunity to make progress in a short chunk. So in FitMe, we actually do these like really great games and challenges in our Facebook group that are totally free. You can always be a part of that. And it's short term, right? 5-10 days at the most. And then we have our coaching program, which is 6 months to 12 months. And so that's sort of like a big step. What I wanted to create was something where you could see progress and have like a smaller bite. So you could commit to this short 28 days, really see what it's like to have doable steps one after another, have a plan that was designed for you, have coaching so that you can get there and you can experience what it's like to make sustainable progress towards your goals. And that's what it is. And so it is 100% created for real life, which means it's the middle of the summer. So it's designed so that you can see progress in the summer. It's designed so that you can see progress in the fall, in the winter, in the spring. Because guess what? The people who are creating real weight loss, like if you've ever met someone who has completely transformed their body, maybe they've lost 40, 50, 60 pounds, they figured out how to do it in all the seasons. And so don't let the fact that it's summer stop you. If you are feeling like you're not feeling your best in your skin, you want to feel some changes, you want to lose 5 to 10 pounds over the next, month, and you just want to have more energy, you want to start to create that long-term change that actually sticks, then you should sign up for this because you're going to learn tons of stuff that you can build on forever. But at the end of the day, it's not about learning, it's about doing, and having coaching will help you follow through because you may know what to do, but you probably aren't doing it. And so let me help you do it. And that's what the 28-day coaching experience is. So I'll put the link in the bio, the show notes, all the places. Definitely sign up and jump in because you don't want to miss it. And again, it's one of the rare times that you can actually do this sort of like next step. You don't have to go from kind of toe in the water to like big decision. You could say like, let me see what this feels like, which is totally valid. And so that's why I want to encourage you to try it. So my coffee talk topic today is around being over it. Have you ever said that? Like this, and this, and I am just over it. Like this been going on in the office for a long time and I am over it. My kids have been doing X, Y, and Z for a long time and I am just over it. Or I keep doing the same dumb thing over and again and I'm just over it. What does that even mean? I feel like sometimes when we are over it, we've reached a breaking point. And we might even have to say it a couple times before we're actually at the breaking point, ironically, because we might say we're over it and we're not actually over it because we don't do anything about it. Because that's really what I wanted to talk about is the feeling of over it versus doing anything about it. Maybe your joints have been hurting for a long time, your knee, and you're like, over and over again, it's hurting. You're like, I'm just over it. I am over this thing, like being a problem. But again, not the same as doing anything about it. So how do we get to the point where we say over it? Well, usually it's because we have some sort of repeated pain, repeated discomfort, repeated pain, repeated, feeling of bleh, or not good, or insecurity, or sort of that rotten feeling that comes from certain things. And you have that over and over again. And maybe the first couple times you're like, that's an anomaly, or yeah, it'll be fine after this. You rationalize what's going on. And so then you're not too stressed about it, but you just, once it starts to happen repeatedly, and again, maybe it's your kid. Maybe your kid made a mistake and the first time you're like, dumb move, but let's move on. The second time you're like, wow, this is like a pattern. We really got to do something about it. Third time, and the fourth time. And then finally it keeps back. You're like, I am over it. Like what does that mean? It means you are sick of the emotional up and down. You do not want to feel that anymore. You do not want to feel the disappointment, the sadness, the frustration, the hurt, the annoyance anymore, or the pain, the discomfort, the whatever. You don't want to feel that anymore. And then have this sort of like rationalizing or hopeful thing that it's going to get better or different. You don't want to do that anymore. You are sick of it. You are sick of the source of whatever is causing that, right? And so you are over it. And I love when we can actually define that because one, maybe we can see it coming. And when we get to the over it time and we are feeling that way, we no longer want to feel it up and down. It's got a bad taste in our mouth. We're sick of it. Then what happens? Well, we actually have to do something about it or nothing's going to change. Nothing will change unless you do something. And so what are you going to do about it? Maybe you have to actually stop doing the same workout program that you're doing that's hurting your knee. You need to go see somebody who's actually going to help you build strength around the joint so that you can not have that same injury over and over again and actually get out of pain. Maybe that's what you do. So instead of just being over it and kind of like taking a week off and then going to do these Band-Aid fixes, you actually address the root of the problem. And I think when we are over it and we try to Band-Aid fix it, it doesn't fix anything. It really doesn't, because we're just hoping that we can glaze over and it won't happen again. It's sort of like this blinders, like optimistic mind. I'm totally guilty of this, where you're like, it's not going to be like that again. It is. It's just you're hoping that it's not. And so you're Band-Aid fixing something and you're like, okay, that'll be fine. But it's not. You actually have to address the root of the issue. And so again, with the knee example, like if you're just taking a week off working out and you've done this multiple times and you continue to get hurt, you have the same pain, the same injury, well, you're not addressing the root of the problem. Maybe it is a body thing. Maybe it's like a weight loss thing, and you've done the same kind of programs and like quick fixes and meal replacement things, and they work for a little while and then they stop working, and you are just sick of it because that pain of it coming back and feeling frustrated like you failed, you are just over it. You are done. But instead, sometimes again, we put the blinders on and we're like, well, I'm going to try to fix this. We're going to pretend like it's not going to happen again. And we just do the Band-Aid and we think, okay, well, we're going to rationalize why the next time it'll work. We're not addressing the root of the problem. We're not solving the reason why the weight keeps coming on and back on every single time. We're not solving that problem. Instead, we're just hoping it doesn't happen again. And it does. And then we get over it. So we actually have to do something about it, but not just do something about it on the surface, do something about it at the core. And if you think about like kids and stuff like that, like Band-Aid, you might be able to solve it at the surface, but if you're not diving into what's really causing that problem, then the kid's probably going to have that same behavior over and over again. And if it's you that's having the behavior and you know that you're the one that's causing the problem for yourself or the drama or the whatever issue, or you're self-sabotaging at work, or you're self-sabotaging your relationships or your food or whatever it is, but you are hoping that you can stop doing it, and you know that you're going to lead yourself, you're over it, you're over yourself. Like, I'm pissed at myself, I'm over it, I can't believe I keep doing the same thing. You can Band-Aid it, or you can try to address the root of the problem. And so this whole coffee talk is around, I just want to challenge you. One, if you catch yourself saying you're over it, remember, like, you're right before a moment where you can actually do something about it. Because if you're over it, you can continue to Band-Aid, you can continue to pretend like it's not a thing, or you can take action. And I really like identifying these little moments in our days in life, because sometimes days can string together where we're just kind of doing the same little patterns and we're not liking the outcomes, but there's not enough of a problem that we actually change anything. Because usually, like, mild discomfort, we'd rather stick with the status quo. Change is often worse than discomfort to a degree, because the change is the unknown, where the discomfort is, well, at least I know that this job sucks, but at least I know what it is. Like, it's better than I'm quitting and then not knowing if I'm going to have a job and not knowing if I'm going to have money, right? So the discomfort of the job is less than the idea of potentially having to go out and find a new one and having to make money, and what would that feel like? And that uncertainty is scary. And so as long as that balance is, the pain of the now is less than like the future, the unknown, then you're probably going to stay in the status quo. But at some point that pain continues to rise, whether it's body stuff. Sometimes we're just over it. We're sick of feeling overweight. We're sick of feeling low energy. We're sick of feeling not good in our skin. And at some point, that discomfort rises high enough that when we're over it, we are almost at the tipping point. We're over it, and you can either mash that back down and stay exactly the same, because at the over it point, it's almost like you're at the balance. If you could see my hands, if you're just listening, you probably can't see, but it's like a teeter-totter. And when we are at the over it, we're right in the middle, and we get to choose. We either get to rationalize and Band-Aid and push it so that discomfort goes back down enough so that we don't actually have to make any real changes, right? We tip that back down into status quo through reasoning, through Band-Aids, through procrastination, or we in that moment get to identify it's time to do something. The unknown is better than this, and I'm doing it, right? I'm going to actually make some friggin' changes. And that is, again, if we get to choose, it's almost better than getting tipped to the point of like losing our minds, right? Again, like use the job example. So instead of, if you choose, then you get to actively say like, I am over it. This is no longer serving me, this job, this life. I'm going to start looking for another position, and I'm going to put in my like, hey, at the end of this quarter, I'm done. So you get to leave in sort of like a way that feels good because you're sort of rationally making this proactive choice, an empowered choice. If you keep on pushing it and pushing it and pushing it down, eventually that's going to tip so high that you're going to be like, F this place. And you kick your desk over, you tell your boss to screw himself, and then you walk out. Well, now you're still in the unknown, but it just went down a lot differently, right? So you kind of, that's why I like this, because the idea of like the I'm over it is your moment where you get to make empowered, rational choices about what you actually want to experience before the pain gets so crazy that you have to deal with it. And from a body perspective, like think about like this, when you're over it, you still have the choice. You're still in a position where you're like, hey, I actually can choose to do something different and stop doing these Band-Aid weight loss fixes, or stop trying to, quick loss the fat and instead do something different. But when you have waited to the point that now you're pre-diabetic, now your doctor is telling you, if you don't, I am putting you on this medication, and your health markers are crap. Well, now you have forced yourself. You are no longer in a place of getting to make empowered choices. You got to urgently solve this problem. And you don't want to get to that point. Why do you want to get there? The over it is with the moment. And so that's my coffee talk message for today. When you get to the point where you're over it, you're right in that balance teeter-totter, it's time to do something. If you are truly unhappy with the status quo, then make a change and make it an empowered, rational choice based off of what you want, not based off of like the emotions of getting so pushed so far to the edge that you've like lost it, And then the worst thing that you can do is Band-Aid it and rationalize and push it down and delay. Because again, I don't know if this is like, to me, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm almost imagining that each time that we delay or we rationalize or we procrastinate, it's almost like we're pushing that teeter-totter down, but it's getting spring-loaded. And so eventually when we are over it, we go way past over it, and we shoot into the moon of frustration. And so we can avoid that. We truly can avoid that by making decisions sooner, and not allowing us to live in a place of complacency and discontent with the status quo. So that's my coffee talk message for today. I hope it was helpful. Again, join me for the 28-day coaching experience. You're going to build confidence. You're going to feel better. You're going to see progress. Sign-ups go through next week, but I would love to have you be a part of it. I'll put the link in the comments, the show notes, all the places. So look forward to seeing you as a part of that. If you haven't done so, subscribe to Fit Me Coffee Talk on your favorite podcast platform. If you're not a part of our Facebook group, go to Facebook, search Fit Me Community, request to join the group, and I will add you there. Talk to you there. Bye-bye.